Hello, thank you for joining us today on Uptime Logistics. I'm your host, Doug Draper, and I'm with the Denver Transportation Club. Today, I'd like to welcome a couple of phenomenal guests that are joining us out from the California region. They are with CalPortland, and we're going to have a little conversation about concrete and cement and sustainability, so we're looking forward to it. We always like to learn a little bit about our guests before we get started, so I'd like to introduce to the audience Tina McIntyre and Bill Jerald. They're both with CalPortland. And let's learn a little bit about you guys. So Tina, why don't you give us a little summary of kind of what you've been involved with and how you ended up at CalPortland.
Thanks, Doug. Good morning. So I'm Tina McIntyre, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing, and I've been with CalPortland now for about 5 years. So I came to CalPortland through an asset acquisition of the Oro Grande cement plant 5 years ago. And at that time, I worked for a company named Martin Marietta, and prior to that, it was Texas Industries. I have about 25 years of cement, concrete related experience in the industry, and have just so enjoyed my time with the industry. Great people, the technology and the innovations that we're seeing moving forward is just really exciting. So it's a great time to be part of this industry. So thanks for having me, Doug.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. We're excited. Yeah, for sure. All right, Bill, you're up, my friend. Tell us about yourself and your journey with CalPortland.
Yeah, I'm Bill Jerald, and I'm the Chief Energy Engineer for CalPortland. I've been with CalPortland 27 years now. I different positions at the cement plant in Arizona, and then became the energy manager for the company in 2007. Prior to coming to the cement industry, I was in the U.S. Navy nuclear power program, and I actually got a degree from the University of Arizona in nuclear engineering. So it was quite a diversion from my nuclear engineering path, but it's been a very rewarding career to be involved in cement. Like Tina says, it's a very technical industry, and there's just a lot of changes going on and a lot of process improvements. It's just been an exciting time, and it's a great career and a great group of people at CalPortland.
Right, that's terrific. Well, you started to intimidate me a little bit when you said nuclear engineer, so you're going to have to dumb this whole thing down for me for sure, right? And we'll start. Everybody's into virtual learning now, so it's very apropos, if you will, that we're going to go back to class, in the sense that I think it's important for our audience to understand the difference between cement and concrete. I think it's used interchangeably, and people may not understand the difference, that one's an ingredient and one's a finished product, so to speak. So maybe let's just kind of start there about the differences and why there are, and kind of go from there. So I don't know, Bill, maybe we'll throw that one over to you.
Okay, yeah, so it really is, in our industry, cement and concrete, they're interrelated, but we do like to make sure that everybody understands, what are we talking about at different times. So cement is the product that it starts out as limestone. Every cement plant in the world is pretty typically near a limestone deposit, and you mine that material and you put it in a cement kiln. It's a furnace, and you increase that temperature, and you convert this material into what we call Portland cement, right? And it comes out as a product similar to lava, and then you have to recrush it to grind it down to the powdered product. Now, the Portland cement is essentially the glue. When you make concrete, you take, let's just pick, very simple numbers: 1/3 water, 1/3 aggregates, which would be some sort of a sand and rock, and then you add the Portland cement, and you mix that together. And as soon as that water hits the cement, it starts to hydrate, and it's starting a process where it's going to harden, right? It's going to harden all that aggregate together. So concrete is that finished product that's in the foundation of our buildings and the foundations of our roads, and cement is just the portion that's the glue that is introduced to make the concrete. That's a very 101 low level. There's obviously a lot more. There's a huge amount of chemistry involved, and how you make it is the quality control is very important, and but that is cement 101. And one thing to think about, right? that truck that's going down the street that's got the rotating barrel, right? That is a concrete truck. That has got concrete in it that we're delivering to a customer. I think almost all of us were raised up saying, hey, there's a cement truck, and that's not a cement truck, it's a concrete truck.
Got it. Yeah, well, you kind of led into my next question about the truck going down the road. This is kind of just a one-off question, but generally do they erect temporary concrete facilities around job sites? I've always seen that before, where there's this little complex that pops up. Obviously, big facilities where you are not where all the construction is. So how does that work whenever there's a big infrastructure program, and making sure that they're mixing the batches close to the actual product or project?
Yeah,
excuse me. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. That definitely can happen. Now, our company, we have dozens and dozens of ready-mix concrete plants that are providing concrete to our regions. But you're right. If there's a big project, there's many times that they will build we call it a batch plant, right? A concrete batch plant. Mm-hmm. And they're mobile, they're on wheels, they can move and set them up pretty quickly. And that way it's right there on site, delivering it, and, very, very efficiently and very fast right to that particular job. And then when that job's done, they'll tear it down and move it on to the next one.
Yeah, nice. Well, that's good. I know one of the things that we wanted to talk about on the show here is kind of the sustainability aspect of the industry. And to be honest, whenever we were talking before the show, I was amazed at how important that concept is and how CalPortland has really embraced the importance and the need to have sustainability in your industry. So, Tina, I'm going to throw this one over to you. So maybe on a broader perspective, when you say sustainability in your industry, what does that mean on a 30,000 foot level?
Sure. I mean, when we talk about sustainability, we're talking about long-term resilience, a product that's going to last, more than just for the immediate needs of something. So we're talking about from the minute it leaves the plant, whether it's cement, going to a ready-mix plant, and then that turning into concrete, and then that, ultimately turning into a road or a building or a, any type of structure, a bridge or, a dam. What we're looking at is, the idea that this product is going to be there for the long term, because it is resilient and durable, so especially in our industry, we're looking at solutions and creating solutions that are sustainable solutions. And since we didn't mention this in the beginning, but CalPortland's been around since 1891. So we've got a long history, within the industry, but we've also have a long history of providing sustainable solutions, whether it's directly through cement and through our products or things that we've done in and around our company. For instance, we have this old aggregate facility in Washington, been around for years, for decades. Once we had finished mining that location, we completely reclaimed that property, and it's now known as Chambers Bay Golf Course, which if you're a golfer, that was the site of the U.S. Open Championship back in 2015. And it's just a gorgeous facility, out on the water. But a lot of people don't know that was a former aggregate facility. So, reclamation is just one way of looking at, a variety of ways to describe sustainability in our industry.
Nice. There's a designation that's out there called Energy Star. And I've always seen that, and I'm sure our audience, on appliances and other things where there's a nice logo and there's kind of a motion star. And you kind of talk about the sustainability of that. But I didn't realize you could have that in industries and businesses. And you guys are Energy Star certified a little bit. So I know, Bill, you're pretty proud of that. You've been involved with developing that designation. So maybe jump in a little bit about what Energy Star means specific to your industry.
Yeah. Energy Star, it's a great program, right? And the first thing to know is Energy Star is actually an EPA program, and the brand recognition is pretty good. As you said, you can go and you can find a refrigerator, and if that Energy Star logo was on that refrigerator, that means that it's passed certain requirements for energy efficiency. I think like you said, most of us recognize that. Now, what's part of the same program is there's an Energy Star industrial program, and it's a partnership. And what this partnership does is it brings a company like mine, an industrial energy intense company, and we sign up and we become a partner with Energy Star. And along with that is many other industries, companies in my industry, as well as others, that we meet regularly, we share best practices, we discuss energy topics and what are the what are the best methods for energy efficiency, what are the next technologies. It's a constant sharing amongst all of these companies, and that partnership, I've learned so much from it, and then the stuff that I learn I bring back to my company, and then in return, as a partner, you return the favor, right? And you mentor other companies, and I will talk to other companies and try to bring them into Energy Star, right? We're trying to always grow the program, because the more people you can get in a partnership, the more you can share with each other. And like you said, one of the banners of an Energy Star program is they really believe in the feedback and recognizing achievements. And so we have Energy Star certified cement facilities. Our one in Arizona has been a 9-time Energy Star certified cement plant. We've also got multiple plants that are what's called the Energy Star Challenge, and that challenge is that you say you're going to, or you sign up to reduce your energy efficiency by 10%, and if you reduce it by 10% within 5 years, then you will become what's called an Energy Star Challenge achiever. And right, so once again, this is a recognition. It's a way to tell our employees we're doing a good job. It's a way to tell the public that we're doing everything we can do to reduce our energy content, and that part of sustainability, that's where we're trying to reduce our energy content all the time, right? It's economically, it's important, right? The less I buy energy, the less money I spend, but then on a sustainable aspect, the less energy I consume, the less emissions, either from the power generation or from the direct emissions from our plant. So that really has been, a big part of our sustainability program to this point, and Energy Star has been instrumental in maintaining our energy management program, and all the tools that it provides us.
Nice, that's good. Well, between repurposing into a golf course and the Energy Star, it's obviously a passion of CalPortland with the sustainability. So Tina, I'll probably throw this one to you since you're the sales and marketing guru. Like, why is CalPortland so interested and passionate about the whole sustainability project? Bill just spoke about a couple of cool things and alignments you've had with Energy Star and the support you've given to other companies. But maybe take a step back and say, why do you care about this so much? What's the underlying theme behind that? It's very impressive, but just curious on, say, why have you embraced it to this level?
Sure. I mean, like Bill said, obviously it makes sense financially, but it also makes sense for the environment, depending on what part of sustainability or what we're doing, whether it's like Bill spoke of with the Energy Star Award, we really take a lot of pride, and Bill's been instrumental, along with his energy management team, of creating this culture within CalPortland, where employees truly take the Energy Star message and providing efficiencies and looking for different ways to create savings that, just become natural within the CalPortland environment. But I mean, looking past our company, we're just being, we really truly are trying to be really good environmental stewards to the communities in which we live. We want to take care of the people that, work for us and the communities in which we're located, so, we really try to be active in the communities where we operate. And we try to, again, going back to that really cool golf course, which you need to go look up, just so you can see how beautiful it is. just trying to create, and reclaim the areas that we've, mined and processed. So I think it really goes to taking care of our people, taking care of, the environment that we live in, whether it's local or, the environment as a whole.
Yeah, that's great. I know carbon emissions is kind of a buzzword out in the world right now, especially with some of the new leadership back in Washington, D.C. And you guys had made mention that the concept of net zero by 2050 seems like a long way off, but a lot of stuff needs to happen between now and there. So maybe talk about that initiative and what the net zero for 2050 really means.
Yeah, well, our parent company, Taheo, they have basically said, we have put this, this goal of being net zero by 2050, and so, we have followed, definitely followed suit, and are, along with the rest of the industry, are setting these goals of, trying to be carbon neutral, whether it's, providing cements, producing cements that are lower in their carbon footprint. We just came out with a new product called Advancement. And simply by changing the way that we produce the cement by adding limestone into the process, we're creating a cement that's lowering carbon by 10%. So, and it doesn't change any of the performance capabilities, everything sort of, apples to apples when you look at, ordinary Portland cement compared to this new Portland limestone cement product that, that we just introduced called Advancement. But so why wouldn't you use a product that's automatically going to lower your carbon footprint by 10%? So we're taking initiatives and really trying to find ways of how we can lower our carbon footprint. I mean, so in the beginning of our conversation, we really spoke a lot about our ready mix and how much ready mix, how cement goes into ready mix products and where that goes, whether it's a building or a road or some sort of structure, ready mix concrete is the most used building product in the world, and it's been around for thousands of years. So because we produce such a large volume of concrete, which uses cement, there are a lot of carbon emissions, that go along with that because of the volume. So, we're really looking at ways of how we can, do our best to cut back on emissions and ways to streamline, our efficiencies and just basically lower carbon footprint.
Nice. Bill, you and I spoke before about some of the standards out in California, and California always seemed to set the standard, if you will, and the rest of the country follows. You always hear about California emissions on automobiles and things of that nature. And I know there's a program out there related to tax incentives based on the amount of carbon generated. Could you talk a little bit about that and how that carbon offset and tax credits work?
Yeah, so it's called a cap and trade program where they your industry and ours being one of them we're a large carbon emitter, and they cap the amounts. We have an allotment every year of carbon that we're allowed to get in tons, and if we are above the allotment, we have to buy carbon credits to offset the amount. And then each year, that carbon offset is reduced. So that what they're trying to do is trying to drive down the carbon emissions and bring financial incentives for us to either, you buy the carbon credits to offset what your production needs are, or you somehow try to reduce that carbon offset. And there's an open market. There's a market that trades carbon, and the price of that carbon fluctuates based on demand, supply and demand, so it's an economic way for forcing industries to reduce carbon emissions. And as you said, California being, the one state that's actually doing it, so we have to perform our 2 cement plants within that state. Outside of the state, you don't have to perform to that level. It's only internal. But as you said, with the new administration, I would expect some sort of, and it's being discussed in Congress now, some sort of a either carbon tax or similar cap and trade method of trying to, economically incentivize reducing your carbon emissions.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, we're here today with Bill Jerald and Tina McIntyre at CalPortland, and we're really diving into concrete sustainability and some amazing things that their company is involved with. So I'm going to switch over and talk about this little triangle I think that we all grew up with, and I think it was started back in the 70s, at least when I was growing up in school. It was a big thing. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. We could even throw in repurpose a little bit in there, Tina, with your golf course example. But using those 3 in that triangle, reduce, reuse, and recycle, what are some specific examples that CalPortland is doing that may fit into each one of those categories? Tina, maybe I'll start with you.
Sure. I guess one of the first things and most tangible things that I can think of is that you can, I don't know if many people know that you can recycle concrete. So when a building or a road, meets the end of its life, after 50 or 60, 75 years, you can demolish that building or, break up that road, take that existing concrete, reduce it back down by crushing it into smaller aggregate, and then reuse that aggregate in new ready mix to rebuild that building or another road or, in some other application. But I think that's a great example of how we can take what we've produced, reuse it, re-implement it, and, you keep hearing about, well, I hope people are hearing about this idea called the circular economy, where you take what you've created or a product from what you've created, take it through its life cycle, and then it meets the end of its life cycle, and then you take it and re-implement it back into, another life cycle. And so you just keep using that product over and over again, keeps it out of landfills, keeps it in use in some capacity. And that whole idea of a circular economy is just a great way to explain sustainability and is a great example to show how our industry, the cement and concrete industry, are doing and creating ideas and creating ways to keep our products recyclable and renewable. So I think that's one of the easiest ways to describe that concept.
Yeah, that's great. Bill, there's a buzzword that I've heard in doing some research with CalPortland and the industry is sustainable concrete, right? Sounds cool. And wanted to see if you could elaborate on that. When I hear sustainable, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure the road's still safe and the building's still structurally safe. But I know there's some cool technology out there that's happening. So when we hear the word sustainable concrete, tell me more. What does that really mean? Well,
Tina mentioned advancement. This cement that's got a 10% reduction in emissions and in sustainability. And the concrete, it's very long life, right? It's lifetime. The life cycle of concrete is enormous, and reducing the carbon content that goes into the concrete, well, it's going to go over decades of the life of that concrete. It's not going to be demolished in 10 years. It's going to be down there for, literally 50 years or even up to 100 years. And that sustainability comes in if we can reduce the carbon content on the front end and then have a very long life cycle for that concrete. It's proven to, its sustainable, attributes. Yes, there is an energy, portion at the front that we have to put a lot of energy into this cement and the chemical composition changes, but the life cycle of the concrete overall is a tremendous. And we want to make sure you're looking at the full life cycle of concrete to understand that you can have sustainable concrete, that you can have a product, just like we're talking about reducing our emissions and reducing the carbon content as much as you can, but provide a product, as you said, that is safe, has the proper quality, and meets all standards that, every state has very, very high standards for the concrete that they require and in order to perform the job, and they have to meet all those performance standards.
Nice. All right, so I've been working on this cool catchphrase for a while, so hopefully it'll resonate. So we're going to talk about some future trends, right? So maybe we'll start, Tina, with you. So here I go. All right, talk to us about a couple of trends that are going to rock the concrete industry. That was definitely, I've worked on that all day, right? So talk to us about some things that are happening. Fast forward 5-7 years down the road. What are some technologies that are going to be with us? Talk a little bit about the forward nature of the industry.
Sure. And love any kind of pun that has to do with rocks or cement. Creating the foundation. I love it. I think going back to carbon emissions, as you mentioned before, that's a big topic right now. You heard it in the elections, you're hearing it every day in the news cycle, so I think that's definitely going to be something that's going to be with us for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We talked about net zero by 2050. California has net zero by 2030. There's all of these, deadlines, or not deadlines, but guidelines and years that we're really trying to achieve a net zero carbon balance, by. But so I think carbon's definitely going to be an issue that our industry is going to be looking at, whether it's looking at different ways for carbon sequestration, at the plant, at the ready mix plant, downstream, just different ways to limit our emission capabilities. Yeah.
No, I get it. You guys are certainly passionate about it. Bill, I'll ask you the same question. Anything cool coming down the road in the next 5 or 7 years, unrelated to carbon footprints? You're the engineer, you're in the lab mixing stuff up. I wasn't sure what your thoughts were on future trends.
Well, for sure, alternative fuels are going to be a big target for us, CalPortland. Getting the permits to burn and alternative fuels can be a wide variety of things. We actually had we have the ability to burn rubber tire chips in Arizona, and we used to do whole tires in California before that plant shut down. And it's a good fuel, and it's a way to get rid of a landfill issue and make a fuel out of it. So alternative fuels, I think, are big. Tina lightly mentioned carbon sequestration. There's been a lot of pilot projects in the country on power plants for reducing carbon content. Cement plants are the next obvious target. And there's been a few cement companies that are actually joining up with Department of Energy and having pilot programs where you're actually trying to capture the CO2 as it leaves the stack and capture it and either put it underground or make some sort of a product out of it. I think that's going to be big. We have 24 megawatts of wind power at our Mojave cement plant. I think renewables will be, big in the future. As battery storage and renewable has come down in price, I think there'll be a lot more renewable on site at facilities. I'm always constantly looking and trying to, make it all pencil out, make it work, and to get more renewables in our portfolio. So those are some of the next years, next few years, things I'll be working on.
Great. Well, Bill, Tina, I can't thank you enough for joining us today. I've learned a lot, and I know our audience has. And, on a personal note, I'm truly impressed with what CalPortland is doing and embracing the concept of, reducing the footprint, engaging the environment, and understanding how important it is, and really having a company-wide perspective. So I just want to say, congratulations on that. It's very, very cool. So thank both of you for joining us today. And I'd like to thank our audience as well for joining us on Uptime Logistics. Of course, it's brought to you by Cap Logistics. You can learn more about Cap Logistics and the services they provide at the link below. Obviously, visit caplogistics.com for all of your transportation and logistics needs. So I think that's it. We're going to call it a day, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Uptime Logistics. Take care.